crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. Good morning, hornets. Here's your sip of chaga coffee. Again, chaga, vitamin D, vitamin C, build up those cell walls. You can fight this. You can fight this on your own. You can fight them. You know who they are. All right. After yesterday's post about the end of the road to Ruta, the end game for the banking cabal, check it out if you haven't seen it yet. And a guy said, well, what would you invest in, gasoline or silver? And I said gasoline. Enough to, drive your car for a week or so. So, yeah, now's the time to build up your supplies of food, water, storage. You know the drill. If you've been in this game long enough, you know we're looking for disruption. The disruption will come when the criminal banking cabal, the criminal government cabal, the criminal pedo cabal, the criminal cabals go down. And that is the reason it's been allowed to go on for so long, is the disruption it would cause. Now, I do believe there are good guys behind the scenes. I've talked about it. I showed it in the Road to Ruta documents that came out of the Fed Boston. So, yes, the Fed does plan on a smooth transition. They have plans for a new financial system. No, it won't be the quantum financial system or NESRA or JESRA or anything like that. Something completely different. We'll probably be going to a gold, maybe even silver. There is some possibility of silver, but silver's so valuable, I don't know how, unless they make silver, a silver dime equal to a gold dime, that's really the only way they could do it, because there's so much gold and so little silver. But not sure about that one. Definitely it is in the documents, and I'll show you a document from the Fed, another comic, this one with Glix in it. Yes, the Fed made a character modeled after me. They call him Glix or Brad. But Glix is the name of the character. He runs around singing songs about the Federal Reserve System. I'll show you that in a second. And why it's important. Anyway, so yes, I would buy first, get yourself enough gasoline for a week or so. And it won't hurt due to inflation and all that. But, inflation, the price of gasoline is rigged on the comics like everything else. So it won't be necessarily for a buying at the low price. It would be more for being able to get around, I don't think the stores will be open, but get out of town if you need to get out of town, just to get around. You don't want to store gasoline for too long. I heard 6 months is about the longest you want to store it for, and then just fill it in, put it back into your tank, and then refill the cans. So I've been storing gasoline for a long time. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Every 6 months you got to refill, but hey, it's one of those things. It's a prepper thing that when you need it, it'll be invaluable, meaning you won't even know the value. Kind of like silver. We're not going to know the value of silver for a while. Just keep that in mind. So, Bix, Jean-Claude, check your email. Jean-Claude just sent me a message. Check my email. He doesn't know that I don't do instant message. I'm surprised that even came up. I never even get it. I never even look at him. He has my phone number. I don't know why he isn't texting me. I don't know, Jean-Claude. Check out our discussion a couple days ago about all this, the transition that we're going to be going through. Anyway, yeah, I definitely get cans of gasoline first before I got coins of silver, but not a lot. I'd get like 4 cans. All right. This is yesterday I talked about the Road to Ruta comic book, the teacher's guide from the Road to Ruta, which comes out of the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, the good guys working out of there, published in 2007. On that very same day, January 1st, 2007, that they published the Road to Ruta documents, the 2 comic books, or 1 comic book and 1 teacher's guide, with big red exclamation point. There was a 3rd document right below it, published the very same day. It's also a remake of a prior pamphlet that came out in 1987 when they first created the Gold and Silver American Eagle program. And it was called Banking Basics. So in 2007, they redid the document, but they put some very interesting as symbols or whatever you want to call it, foreshadowing into that document. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the document from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Again, it's still on the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston website. You can find Banking Basics is the name of it. You can find Road to Ruta, or you can find Wishes and Rainbows, which is the Ruta comic book, and then the Teacher's Guide, which is the Road to Ruta. Anyway, Banking Basics came out. Now, there wasn't a big red exclamation point after it, but it came out on the same web page. So I was interested in it. I looked at it, and there's some amazing things in this one. For example, just starting off, a kid putting a gold coin in a piggy bank. It's like, wait a minute, I thought the Federal Reserve was against gold. Anyway, the key reinforced gold coins. If you look at right here, waiting in line at an ATM, but she's got gold coins in her hand there. And then we keep going, and we find it talks about regular banking stuff, but on page 17, look at that. When was the last time you went into a bank and exchanged gold coins for US dollars? Or vice versa. We don't know if she's getting the dollars and the bank and cashing in gold coins, or vice versa. And then you have the gold price graph on the wall. I think if we do go onto a gold or silver standard, we will have probably a price graph on the wall with the new US dollar bills that are either gold or silver backed. Probably gold, because we have more gold than we have silver. But there it is. There's 19 gold coins there. That's a hell of a lot of gold times 300 million people in the United States. I think that in the Road to Ruta documents, it talks about everybody getting at least an ounce of gold. Well, actually, they said enough gold. Each person in the United States will get enough gold in the transition. And that's in the Teacher's Guide on the Road to Ruta from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. The other interesting thing, it talks about what happens when banks fail. And there's two case studies they talk about. One is, where is it? Right. Well, this is the Fed, Boston. Do banks keep a large amount of gold and silver in their vaults? Today, banks rarely keep gold or silver in their vaults. Well, theoretically, do they have, the U.S. has already sold off all their silver, supposedly, other than what's in the silver U.S. Eagle program. And the gold, theoretically, is stayed at 8,000 tons for a zillion years, although nobody knows. And I would say, yeah, they probably leased out all that gold. The GATA guys are right. But at the same time, they have massive amounts of gold in the ground. And they keep finding more. That's in the Road to Ruta documents as well. Anyway, the U.S. government still holds millions of ounces of gold and silver. Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure. Well, maybe 1 million ounces of silver. But remember, every time they put us on allocation for silver eagles, that means they have no silver. But citizens and foreign governments can no longer exchange their U.S. paper money for it. The government's gold and silver are considered valuable assets rather than forms of money. Today's coins and paper money are backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government. Boy, that's gone to hell lately, isn't it? If that makes you a little uneasy, this is the Fed Boston saying this. If that makes you a little uneasy, try the following exercise. Put a $10 bill and a blank piece of paper on a tabletop and ask people to choose between the two. Chances are everyone will choose the $10 bill. Why? After all, neither the $10 bill nor the blank piece of paper is backed by gold and silver. The difference is that people all over the United States will accept the $10 bill as payment if you want to buy something. But you would have a hard time finding someone willing to accept a blank piece of paper. That's because a $10 bill is backed by the promise of the United States government, and to most people that promise is as good as gold. Well, why didn't they put a $10 bill and a gold piece and a half ounce? Back when gold was $10, a half an ounce, I think they had half ounces back in the early 1900s when a full ounce was $20. Why didn't they put on the table a $10 bill and a half ounce of gold? Anybody with half a brain would have taken the gold. So a little skewed experiment here, but Here's where it gets into the interesting stuff. This is the Fed Boston, the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Why do banks fail? It goes through all these reasons why banks fail. In this one, they're talking about Gusher National Bank that has invested heavily in oil assets. The price of oil gets destroyed and the bank gets destroyed. And then the Fed has to take it over. And then there's another one right here, Bedrock Bank. Invest in houses, housing market crashes, and the banks get destroyed. When did we see that? We already saw that. Maybe the price of oil is going to get slammed again. I don't know. Could be anything. But look what's between the two. This picture is the exact opposite of what the GATA picture is. If you've seen the Gold Antitrust Action Committee had a portrait made for them of us charging, all the GATA folks charging the Federal Reserve Bank, half cloaked in darkness with a closed door, and Bill Murphy out there with the sword leading the charge. Look at this. This is the exact same picture, but full sunlight, and look at the door. The door is open. That's what our future is. I just got chills thinking about it. This is the Federal Reserve saying, we are going to a different type of monetary system. And then they ended the whole comic book with the same. There she is standing in line to cash in her gold coins at an ATM. And look at the very last page. There she is. Is it Ruta? It could be. I don't know. But cash in 19 gold coins for a stack of paper fiat money. That's what our world's going to look like. It will have a crypto. Remember, these were released before cryptos were invented. Well, before Satoshi's white paper. Cryptos go way back. Cryptocurrencies go way back. Some failed, the double spend problem was fixed by Satoshi. And then we got into a whole new realm. After Bitcoin, core developers wanted to lock on to Bitcoin and say, we're going to make this a store of value and make it completely useless as anything else. That's when all the alternative coins came out and better blockchains were built. Do I think Bitcoin will still last? Yeah, I don't think Bitcoin will be as valuable as a lot of other cryptocurrencies because they refused. The core developers that got taken over by, I think, the bad guys, refused to make changes, refused to allow the development of cryptocurrency. So everybody else said, hey, human ingenuity, if you're not going to do it, we're going to do it. And then proof of stake, different types of proof of stake came out. Some suck, some are great, some are centralized and you're able to change, and some are not. But they're a lot faster and a lot cheaper. To transact in Bitcoin, it's ridiculously expensive now. So yes, absolutely, the Bitcoin has shot itself in the foot in the long run, I believe, because there's blockchains that are much more secure than Bitcoin. Yes, I know Bitcoin's that has the first mover advantage, and the proof of work makes it impossible. It would just cost too much to attack it. There's a hell of a lot of other blockchains that are the same way. So that's my take. All right. From there, we went to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York started making comic books about about 10 years ago? Well, they made them back in the 70s and 80s, but they started a new program after the Road to Ruta documents were released, and I started talking about it and taught the public what was going on at the Federal Reserve System. That's when they made a comic book with me in it. I was first introduced in a comic book called Once Upon a Dime. Very subtle hints about going back to a silver standard with silver dimes. But I was in this as a character called Glix, Glix. Now, when I first read this, I didn't know it was me. And I have a feeling this might be Cliff High, too. This guy right here, who, like an artist who's taking these pebbles out of, they don't say it's silver. Of course, silver dimes were pretty big back in the day, and they still are, mercury dimes. But this is the guy who says, okay, we don't have the money, let's use these silver dimes right here. His name's Rollo, which is dollar without the D. And they call it a dime, do it more efficiently. And you notice here, the band, I am conspicuously missing from the band in the first comic. Although there's my drummer Snippy, the robot with the rolling pin, and there's Dick Allgaier playing guitar. There you go. Those are the two guys. I bet they didn't even think about that they were in this. So I get introduced about right here. Flora had a friend named Glix who was vacationing on Planet Ovis. So that's where I get introduced as Glix, Glix. I didn't even think about it at the time. And then the next comic book, it was like right in my face. That Glix is a singer-songwriter guy. All he does is sit there and sing about Federal Reserve and becomes one of the biggest rock stars in the world. Oh, it's hysterical. So here's Glix singing about the Fed is different from regular banks. It's a bank to the bank. And they're like, why are you singing? I said, it helps me to remember. So you guys know by now, I sing about taking down the banks, silver, cryptos, and monetary policies and freedom. And voila, on the planet Novus, which is New US, I believe, is what it stands for. I get discovered in a library as I'm researching. And then they have this big show, and where am I? And this guy, Brad, who is my alias, Brad, and those who know my real name can, apparently the Fed knows everything about me. It wasn't Brad, but it was close to it. Anyway, I get discovered, and I turn into the biggest rock star in the land, and voila, it's actually Glix under this crazy little outfit. And that's how I got discovered. Make a whole bunch of records, blah, blah, blah. There's the show, a lot like the Bitcoin Ben show in Texas. And then down here, you can see the band has changed. And it's just three of us. I think that's Snippy right there, the little robot guy with the rolling pin, and Mr. Dick Allgaier right there. And that's what we did at the Litecoin Summit. I think it was the second Litecoin Summit back in San Francisco. We had a 3-man band. You guys can find that video. We played Litecoin is the right coin. And this is all came out, I think, before that even happened, which is kind of crazy. So anyway, that I've also been researching. All of you probably know about the 1988 Economist magazine calling for get ready for a new world currency with the coin on the Phoenix. Is it a Phoenix or an eagle? I'm not sure. It's supposed to be, I don't know what it is. It looks like an eagle. Anyway, the date was 2018. The big thing to me was the zero with the slash through it. I have seen that in so many of the hidden treasure stuff about the Americas, about the Grand Canyon in that area. You're always hieroglyphs with the zero through the slash through it. The gold dollar or the gold bars with the Chinese loans on it that I've talked about a lot. It all is coming down to when this transition happens, it's not going to be it's going to be related to the gold. In the Grand Canyon and all throughout the world, there are secret gold mines. I hope everybody knows. And not just gold mines, secret stashes of gold. All secrets are going to be revealed. And that's the only way we can move forward. So once you reveal the criminals that have rigged our markets, controlled our government, lied about our elections, all that stuff, tried to kill us off, then all of a sudden it opens the door for everything else. And stuff like this will be, oh my God, it was so obvious. Yes, the New York Times 1911 article on finding billions of ounces of gold in the Grand Canyon was absolutely real, and it was the reason for the creation of the Federal Reserve System and the creation of the Grand Canyon as a national park that you can't take a pebble out of, and why Woodrow Wilson caved to the bankers. It was either that or introduce billions of ounces of gold into a system that only had 120 million or so in the United States. And in the world, there was only like 250 million ounces. And then you're talking about billions and billions of ounces all of a sudden appearing. It would have destroyed so many structures of our society. They decided to kick the can down the road. Now, with gold no longer as a monetary metal, trillions and trillions of dollars being created out of thin air as debt, us completely about to lose our country, it is time to change, in my opinion. And that change will happen in silver. You need to get physical silver into your own possession. I was talking to Andy Schectman today, and he takes Bitcoin for silver and gold. I wouldn't suggest buying gold from Andy. I wouldn't suggest buying gold from anybody. If you have gold, I would suggest swapping it for silver, because there is very little silver in the world and there's massive amounts of gold in the world. That's just my take based on, 20 years of research now. And I can point you to the articles I do at roadtoroad.com. Just go there and search for secret gold or gold in the Grand Canyon, gold at Chocolate Mountain, Yamashita's gold. There's so many gold mines. And most of the time they'll just lock it up in a military reserve, and they'll lock it up in a national wildlife preservation thing. Dianne Feinstein has locked up more gold mining areas than any human on the planet. Over 41% of California is locked up in U.S. military control. Not military, U.S. federal control. California can never secede from the Union because the Union owns 41% of California's land. And California doesn't have an army. They have a National Guard, kind of weekend warriors. No, I love those guys. But they're not going to defend against the United States of America. And that goal was locked up for the future. And California's going to be playing a big role. Gavin Newsom, I think he'll be booted. There's basically Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. There's a referendum to kick him out. So there's only two questions. The first question is, do you want to remove Gavin Newsom as the governor of California? Yes or no. The second question is, who do you want to replace him? There's a whole bunch of people, but Gavin Newsom is not one of them. So I think Gavin's gone. I hope Gavin's gone. I know he's going to be gone. Now he's going to try to stay. They're going to try to rig the election and all that, but I think he'll be gone. And if California is too stupid, pretty stupid out here right now. Not stupid, mind controlled. The mind control is 100%. My family has fallen for it. Everybody I know has fallen for it here. Not everybody, but the vast majority. And it's insane. It's insane what they're falling for now. But hopefully, and I think this will happen in the next few weeks or months, truths will start to come out how much we've been played. And it's not going to be pretty. So yes, right now, send an email to Andy Schectman, Andy, A-N-D-Y, at milesfranklin.com, and buy silver under $25 is crazy. I mean, I probably, there'll be a bigger premium, but keep it in the small denominations. Pre-65 coinage is the best in my book. 1 ounce rounds, don't go over 10. Remember, when silver goes to $1,000, a 100-ounce bar is going to be $100,000. It's going to be really hard to cash in. So keep it low denominations, and you'll do very well, in my opinion. Silver is going to break away from 170 years of price manipulation, price suppression. I can't even tell you where the price is going to go. We won't know the price because the comments will shut down. But at the same time, it'll be extremely valuable in the future. All right, cryptos, same way. Cryptos are funny because the reason cryptos are running is there's no gigantic short position held by the big banks. So of course they're going to run, and the big banks are trying to get in, so they'll slam it down every once in a while to get some more. Remember Jamie Dimon saying, I'll kill you, I'll fire anybody that buys Bitcoin, and now they're one of the biggest bank Bitcoin controllers. They have a huge outfit, hundreds of people working on cryptocurrencies. Well, he said all that because they didn't control it. Now they're getting more and more control every time they slam the price with their manipulations. Jamie Dimon and JP Morgan should be put away for life. I'm sure they will be when this shit falls apart and their $56 trillion in derivatives goes sideways. You can 100% blame him. Blame Blythe Masters, who hasn't been seen in for a while. She might already be in prison. I don't know. A lot of these people kind of disappear. They don't tell you about it, but where are the Clintons? I haven't seen them for a long time. Not that I want to. At least the real version of them. Anyway, yep, cryptos are going to run beyond your wildest dreams. There's no viable huge short position that the banks have to worry about, so they can be allowed to run. And we need them for the future. The future is about high technology and space. You can't use gold and silver as money in space. It's too heavy and too crazy. But you can use cryptos that are solid, real, immutable blockchain, safe, fast, cheap. And Theta will run the internet. Theta expands broadband. That is so big. I heard in the new infrastructure bill, there's $65 billion going to just expand broadband, and it's barely going to scratch the surface. Why not have Sony or Samsung install a Theta Edge node on every device they sell, or Apple computer, every device they sell, expanding, making it so seamlessly they can share broadband and earn Theta fuel. I am a buyer of Theta fuel these days over Theta right now because the ratio's up at like 22 to 1. I think it'll come down to probably settle around 10. It might overshoot down 5 or 6 to 1. But yeah, right now. And I still think Theta's massively undervalued. Theta will be the winner in the long run, but I think in the short run, T-Fuel has some more catching up to do. But both of them are going to be life changers for anybody who invests in them. And at roadtoroota.com on the private road, we teach you how to buy, store, and stake Theta and lots of information on Theta. So go check us out. Hit subscribe today to join the private road on the road to Roota. And we will send you, at least today, we will send you one silver Roota coin, a 1 ounce silver coin, individually numbered, double stamped with luster. There's the Cave of Gold and the Grand Canyon, Roota jumping up and down. On the Silver Brick Road, you got to get your Roota coins. They will be worth well more than the price of admission, I think in the near future. But as soon as it hits $30, this giveaway is over. And we're just going to hang on to those coins as collector item, and we'll sell them at some point, but it'll be a hell of a lot more than what the spot price of silver is. Like triple, quadruple, I don't know. I want to keep the price strong for the those people who have invested in the road to Roota, and as a thank you to them. So that's all I got for you. This is Bix Weir. This is Glix Weir, roadtoroota.com. Talk to you later.